all roads lead to the Annika Pro-Am. Trust me, all roads, all cameras, all people will be tuned in for the Annika Pro-Am. Why? To see the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, take over the show. We have it here.
Picture this. You're one of the biggest leagues in women's sports. You've got a generational talent, someone who brings in record ratings, sells out arenas, and gets people who've never watched your sport to tune in.
She is back. Caitlin Clark is going to tee it up again at the Annika, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican Pro-Am this November.
What do? If you're smart, you celebrate them. You promote them. You build your entire brand around their success. That's exactly what happened when Caitlin Clark stepped onto a golf course. The LPGA threw her a welcome party. Meanwhile, her own league in basketball? Dead silence. And the fallout from this contrast has exposed some uncomfortable truths about how women's sports handle success. Buckle up, because we're about to break down one of the most fascinating sports marketing stories of the year, and trust me, it gets wild.
Quite amazing for a Wednesday. I mean, there's so many media here from all different sort of media aspects, local news, lots of reporters around that you normally wouldn't see on a Wednesday out here at an LPGA event. All the spectators are all waiting to get their final glimpse of Caitlin, hopefully a final autograph.
Caitlin Clark finished her rookie WNBA season as one of the most talked about athletes in America. Not just women's sports, all of sports. She brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball, shattered attendance records, and made the Indiana Fever must-watch television. Her impact wasn't subtle. Games that previously drew a few thousand viewers were suddenly pulling in millions. Arenas that never sold out were packed. Merchandise flew off the shelves. She wasn't just a good player, she was a phenomenon. Now, here's where most leagues would strike while the iron is hot. You'd expect wall-to-wall promotion, celebration, building storylines around your biggest star. But the WNBA's relationship with Caitlin's fame has been complicated. There's been this underlying tension all season. Some players have openly questioned whether she deserves the attention. Media narratives have sometimes felt defensive. They need to constantly remind everyone that it's not just about one player. Which, sure, fair point. But also when you have someone bringing this much value, maybe don't fight it. Enter the LPGA. They're looking at their own sport, which, let's be honest, has struggled with mainstream attention outside of major championships. They need eyeballs. They need buzz. They need someone who can cut through the noise of the sports media landscape. And then they have an idea. What if we invited Caitlin Clark to our Pro-Am event?
That's right, so that's...
The Annika Pro-Am specifically, which honors LPGA legend Annika Sorenstam.
How's it going? You've been seeing Nelly Korda do that over and over again for 6 holes now.
It's just satisfying. The way she hits the ball is just satisfying. It's pretty awesome.
It's a charity event. It's fun. It's low pressure. Perfect opportunity. So they extend the invitation. And Caitlin, who apparently loves golf and has a solid game herself, says yes. Simple transaction, right? Athlete does charity event. Happens all the time. Except nothing about Caitlin Clark is simple anymore. Because what happened next turned into a full-blown cultural moment that exposed a massive gap in how two different sports organizations operate.
Please, Caitlin. Caitlin, can you please sign this? 24 years, John Deere boys. Caitlin, please.
Caitlin, nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Caitlin! Hung in there, you know. Let's go.
The LPGA didn't just invite Caitlin Clark and call it a day. No, they understood the assignment. They knew exactly what they had, and they maximized every single second of it. First, the announcement itself was treated like a major event. Press releases, social media campaigns, the works. They paired her with Nelly Korda, the #1 ranked women's golfer in the world. Instantly, you've got this compelling narrative. The best basketball player meets the best golfer. That's marketing gold right there. But here's where the LPGA really showed their savvy. They didn't just promote the event, they promoted Caitlin specifically. Their social media was flooded with content. Photos of her practicing, videos of her swing, interviews about her golf game,
How's it going? You've been seeing Nelly Corda do that over and over again for 6 holes now. It's just satisfying. The way she hits the ball is just satisfying. It's pretty awesome.
They positioned her not as some novelty act, but as a legitimate participant who they were genuinely excited to have. The other LPGA professionals got involved too. Players were posting about meeting her, expressing genuine enthusiasm about her participation.
I wanted to come say hi and introduce myself. I play out here on tour. I'm Maria.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for being out here. It's very cool what you're doing for sports, kicking ass on and off the field. But now,
And here's the Caitlin Clark effect, Morgan, with Maria Fossey and other players out here following her.
That's good.
A lot of fun. Made it easy on me.
Annika, could I steal you for a second? I don't think I'll have like bigger. I can't say bad stuff on TV, but badasses once together. We're doing a fun like on that side. There we go. Yeah. I'm next. Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Hi, Allie Ewing. Nice to meet you.
I said the buzz from the players
over here, so.
I'm distracting you.
for
No, y'all are trying to get
has
finished.
been huge.
Somebody take this picture.
By the way, Allie, an outstanding
let's do
point
it.
guard in her own right in
ladies,
Fulton,
here we go. 3, 2,
Mississippi.
1. Hang tight.
All state
Thanks for being here. Yeah. Good luck.
in that sport as well.
There was this organic excitement building that you can't fake. These were actual professional golfers saying, "This is cool, we're happy she's here."
But you're right. I mean, it just puts our tournament in a different limelight and just different excitement. You know, they're streaming the summit today. They'll be streaming the Pro-Am. I mean, things that we haven't seen before. You know, wherever she goes, she's been selling out. So hopefully we sell out here too. So we're excited about that.
And then the event itself happened. The response was absolutely bananas. Crowds showed up in numbers that Pro-Am events just don't usually see. We're talking thousands of people following her group around the course. Fans wearing Indiana Fever jerseys to a golf tournament. People chanting her name on the fairways. Think about how surreal that is for a second. Golf. Quiet, traditional country club golf. And there are crowds losing their minds over a basketball player. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in its purest form. The LPGA wasn't prepared for this level of interest initially. The event wasn't scheduled for major broadcast coverage, but when they saw the demand, they pivoted. They got it on television. They expanded their streaming coverage. They made sure that anyone who wanted to watch Caitlin Clark play golf could do so. And the numbers? They were staggering. Viewership for this Pro-Am event exceeded expectations by massive margins. Social media engagement went through the roof. Suddenly, people who had never watched women's golf in their lives were tuning in, learning about LPGA players, and getting invested in the sport. The LPGA turned a single charity event into a legitimate marketing coup. They gained new fans, new media attention, and positioned themselves as a league that's confident enough to share the spotlight. They looked like winners. Now let's talk about what was happening on the basketball side during all of this. Or rather, what wasn't happening. The WNBA's official social media accounts? No congratulations post. No, our star is doing cool things acknowledgement. No shared clips of her golf swing. Radio silence. At first you think, okay, maybe they're just not paying attention. Maybe it's not on their radar. But as the golf event blew up and became one of the biggest sports stories of the weekend, the silence became deafening. Fans started noticing immediately. Comment sections on WNBA posts were flooded with questions. Why aren't you promoting this? The LPGA is celebrating your player more than you are. This is embarrassing. And it was embarrassing. Here you have the biggest star in your league generating massive positive attention, bringing new fans to women's sports broadly, creating feel-good content that's going viral, and your official response is nothing? The contrast couldn't have been sharper. On one side, you've got the LPGA treating Caitlin like a visiting dignitary, rolling out every promotional tool in their arsenal. On the other side, you've got her actual league acting like she didn't exist that weekend. But the institutional silence was only part of the story, because behind the scenes and on social media, individual reactions started bubbling up, and they weren't all positive. Reports began circulating that some WNBA players were frustrated with the coverage. Not publicly, mind you, nobody went on record, but the social media tea leaves were easy to read. Certain players were liking tweets that criticized the media obsession with Caitlin. Posts about athletes needing to focus on their own sport got suspiciously timed engagement. One player in particular, who's had an ongoing rivalry narrative with Caitlin since college, allegedly liked several posts questioning why a Pro-Am golf event was getting more coverage than WNBA offseason news. The message was clear even without direct statements. Not everyone was thrilled about Caitlin's golf moment. Now, I want to be fair here. You can understand where some frustration might come from. If you're a professional athlete working incredibly hard and feel like one person is getting all the attention regardless of what they do, that's got to be tough. I get it. But here's the thing, that frustration is misplaced. The problem isn't that Caitlin Clark is getting attention. The problem is that the league hasn't figured out how to translate one star's popularity into broader success. And that's not Caitlin's fault. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this contrast really represents. Because it's about way more than just one golf tournament. What we're seeing is a fundamental difference in organizational philosophy. The LPGA operates from a place of abundance. Their mindset is, a rising tide lifts all boats. If Caitlin brings attention to women's golf, everyone in our sport benefits. They're not threatened by her. They don't see her fame as taking away from their players, they see it as an opportunity. Parts of the WNBA ecosystem seem to operate from scarcity. The mindset appears to be, there's only so much attention to go around. If one player gets too much, everyone else loses. That creates this defensive, protective energy that ultimately hurts everyone. And look, I understand where this comes from. Women's sports have fought for scraps of media attention for decades. For most of their existence, these leagues have been ignored, underfunded, and dismissed. So when you finally start getting attention, there's this instinct to make sure it's distributed fairly. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Fair doesn't always mean equal. And trying to force equal attention on every player when you have a legitimate superstar is not just ineffective, it's actively harmful to growth. Think about every major sport that's achieved mainstream success. Basketball didn't become a global phenomenon by downplaying Michael Jordan to make sure everyone got equal coverage. The NBA built their entire brand around him, and guess what? That lifted everyone. Role players became household names. The entire league prospered. Tennis didn't become must-watch TV by telling Serena Williams to tone it down so other players could shine. They embraced her dominance, her personality, her star power. And women's tennis thrived because of it. Soccer didn't hide Megan Rapinoe's personality to protect other players' feelings. They let her be bold and outspoken, and it brought unprecedented attention to the women's game. The pattern is clear. You build around your stars, you don't diminish them. You amplify them, and you use that amplification to grow the entire sport. That's how you create sustainable success. The LPGA gets this. One weekend, they showed they understand modern sports marketing better than leagues that have been around for decades. They didn't overthink it. They didn't worry about whether it was fair to their other players. They saw value and they seized it. And here's the beautiful part. Nelly Korda, the player who was paired with Caitlin, didn't lose anything from this. If anything, she gained exposure. Photos of them together went viral. People who'd never heard of Nelly before now know she's the best golfer in the world. That's the abundance mindset in action. But in basketball, there's this fear that if Caitlin wins, someone else has to lose. And that fear is creating this weird dynamic where the league can't fully embrace their own success story. So where do we go from here? Because this isn't going away. Caitlin Clark is going to keep getting invitations to things. She's going to keep generating attention wherever she goes, and every time she does, we're going to see this same contrast play out unless something changes. The WNBA has a choice to make. They can either embrace the reality of having a transcendent star and build their entire promotional strategy around maximizing that asset, or they can continue with this half-hearted approach that seems almost reluctant to fully celebrate their own success. If they're smart, they'll look at what the LPGA did and take notes. Create content around Caitlin. Promote her appearances. Build storylines. Make her accessible to fans. Use her popularity as a launching pad for other players. If you love Caitlin, you should also know about these other amazing athletes in our league. That's how you convert one person's fame into organizational success. You don't fight it. You don't resent it. You ride the wave and bring everyone else along for the ride. For individual players, the lesson is equally clear. You can either see Caitlin's success as a threat or as an opportunity. If you view it as a threat, you'll spend your energy being bitter and resentful, and that will hold you back. If you view it as an opportunity, you'll find ways to collaborate, to build your own brand alongside hers, to use the attention she brings to elevate yourself. The best players in any sport don't waste time worrying about whether someone else is more famous. They focus on their own game, build their own brand, and find ways to win. There's room for multiple stars in women's basketball, but only if people stop acting like there isn't. Look, I know this video has been critical of the WNBA at points, but it comes from a place of wanting to see them succeed. Women's basketball is an incredible sport filled with amazing athletes who deserve all the support in the world. But sometimes you need someone to hold up a mirror and say, hey, you're getting in your own way here. The LPGA just held up that mirror. What happens next is up to the people making decisions in basketball. Will they learn from this example, or will we keep seeing this same pattern play out? I know where I'm placing my bets, but I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you team the WNBA needs to do better, or do you think the criticism is overblown? Let me know. And if you made it this far, you're clearly invested in women's sports. So make sure you're subscribed because we're going to keep covering this story as it develops. Hit that notification bell, drop a like if this gave you something to think about, and I'll catch you in the next one.